What's happening, guys? It's Frank, Everything Black, and I just found out some information about the Freedman Bank. I don't know if y'all ever heard anything about it, or you know anything about it, or you ever been taught about it. I know you heard of it because I heard it when I was growing up. Um, just learned that this bank was how the free slaves uh, was putting their money in this so-called bank. They thought it was like a government issued bank. They made it seem like it was they was working for the government, but the government created this so-called board of trustees. And mind you, I'm gonna let this video play, and you'll see how it was made up. And then I got a guy who actually wrote a book about it. Named I know his last name is I want to say Rodney Brooks. But if I'm wrong, just I corrected her, and then you'll see his name. Anytime white people put something together for black people, you know it's sabotage already if they got white trustees. Um, but these black people put their faith in this bank. I mean, they was sending every single dollar they could send to $5. It was deposit, and this really made me angry. Um, and I know there's a few black people who have made or have had successful lives, and they don't care, right? But this was done to the whole group of Foundation Black Americans. See, I use the word Foundation Black Americans because uh, they think that everybody belongs and everybody black is owed money. No, it's just the ones who came from the or who were the descendants of slaves or freedmen descendants. So there's a difference. And this bank has genealogy that links us back to this money. A lot of people is owed this money, and the government has the information. And the reason why we can hold this government liable for what happened to us as Foundation Black Americans or freedmen, descendants of slaves, is because they got the archives, they got the notes, they got the books, they have the proof. And in some of our homes and some of our grandparents' homes, the information is there also. But man, if you watch this, it's like the government just took the money and said, F y'all, because nothing has ever been done about it. Not one thing been done about it. And you heard these people, black people on here, just talking about it, just talk about dumb shit. Like, you know, baby bonds and giving somebody $2,000 a month. No, it don't work like that. They saying there's nothing we can do about it. Yes, it is something we can do about it. We can stop giving away our vote, number one, until somebody takes us serious and know that you're not going to get a seat unless we say you're gonna get the seat. And that's why I always say we need a black bloc. You know, that's where all of us come together in different cities, different states, and we vote as one for whatever politician we're gonna put in there. And we make sure that politician promises and have a contract with us to say if they make it, we will get these things that we demand, just like every other group do. But every other group ain't got to do all this that we do. They just have it readily available for them. So anyway, check out this video. Fair use YouTube, Facebook. This is done for educational purposes only. Man, I ain't got the video set up. Oh, that's another one. Wow, I didn't have the video set up. Okay, let me get this video set up, y'all. One sec. I got one ready, but I want to play that one second. So give me a few seconds here. All right, here we go, y'all. Sorry about that delay. Give me one second here. Fair use YouTube, Facebook. Just giving y'all a brief hit.
Impact on black communities. Establishment on March 3rd, 1865, the United States Congress chartered the Freedman's Savings and Trust Company, also referred to as the Freedman's Savings Bank, as a private savings bank to receive deposits from the recently emancipated populations. 7 locations in 17 states, as well as Washington, D.C. and the 7th prosperous freed savings over 3 billion or about those.
Yeah, I just want to say this. 3.7 million. It was black people's money. This money was worth about $83 million today. And they was mainly targeting the pensions of black soldiers who are military people. They was targeting them. They wanted to put their money in the banks, but white banks wouldn't take their money. So they created this black bureau, so-called Freedmen Bureau, which meant black descendants of slaves. It was the descendants of slaves who was putting their money in this so-called Freedmen Bank, which they thought it was government approved because Lincoln approved Congress to authorize a place where black people could put their money, and they so-called had a trustee of 50 white people. You will hear that in the video coming up here. Now, this is probably 67,000 people putting in $1 and $5 a week per month, different times. They have documents of all this. And this is a lot of money. Now, watch what happens.
However, the bank's quick growth was mostly caused by exaggerated promises and was accompanied by fraud and poor management. Because of the speculative loans that the bank's white officials had made during its existence, the bank folded in 1874. Historians contend that the bank's collapse affected black folks' faith in financial institutions as well as their money.
Now, they're not saying it here, but eventually, when we watch the next video, they are saying that when we watch the next video, they saying that these bankers, which was all white, was loaning money out. They weren't supposed to loan money to black people, but they figured out a way to finesse it to loan money to the white people. And these loans were never paid back. And of course, if you ain't putting the money back and the loans are bad, the bank gonna fold. I think this was all part of the conspiracy. No overseas or oversights of this bank by the government. They just let these white guys just screw over all the money till pretty much was completely empty, till it went bankrupt. And like the man said, it was fraud, management, everything. And I think you'll see that Frederick Douglass came in there at the last end and deposited $10,000 of his own money because he wanted people to believe in this bank. And when he got to looking at the books, he like, oh man, it's a lost cause. And nobody knows if he got his money back. But the white people that was depositing money through this bank got portions of their money back, but the black people got $0. And you see, that was generational wealth. You know, we would have been far ahead if these monies would have been paid, or interest would have been paid on this money to black people, black families that had their money here. The government never made these people pay any money to the black freedmen's of this bank. So once again, sabotage out of our money that would have increased our wealth as black people, help us to keep up with pieces of what white people get. They just took the money, never returned it. Over $87 million today, gone, vanished. And the government is still here today and is prospering and telling us that we don't have money for you when they give money to Ukraine, the Jewish people over in Israel get a check. Everybody getting a check but us. Immigrants come over here and get papered up. Free this, free that, free this. Black people, what we get. But who do we vote for? Why do we keep voting for the idiots who keep putting us in this situation and won't restore or repay or repair money owed to us, which is reparations? Now, Slim Thug was on a video with Willie D, and he was saying he ain't worried about it, which that's good, Slim Thug. You shouldn't be if you don't want to be. But if you want to be and you're concerned about what happened to your black counterparts, your black family, some of these people might be your family, Slim Thug. They don't have the talent you have. Or if they do, they never used it. Maybe because they was too depressed, maybe because they was too poor, maybe because they didn't see it the way you see it. Your black family, my black family was robbed. Now, thank God that it was few black people that believed in you, put money in your pocket by buying your music, and then you turn around and look at those same black people and say, you don't need to be waiting on your money. You can get out here and get it like me, which they can. And you're correct on that. But you're lying about they don't need their money that's owed to them. That's where I disagree with you at. And like you have an opinion, I got an opinion. So that's my say to Mr. Thug. And salute to you, brother, for being successful. No hate.
The Treasury Annex later took over the location of the bank's former headquarters. In 2016, the Freedman'S Bank building replaced the name the Annex. Impact. To give former slaves a safe place to save their money, the U.S. Congress chartered Freedmen's Bank, or more officially, Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company, in March 1865. Freedmen deposited almost $57 million in the bank throughout several prosperous years before it failed in 1874 due to fraud and poor administration. Many it also left on the leading of the tingles that were associated with their savings and fostering a long-lasting mistrust of financial institutions. Safeguarding. During the American Civil War, it became clear that freed black folks needed a bank. Inadequately being backed as national banks, black troops in the Union Army frequently. It became evident to civil rights activists and certain tolerant military personnel that blacks required a bank to guarantee the safety of their funds. A board of trustees, Anson M. Berry, paymaster for this army, and John W. Alvord, a congregational preacher.
Congregational preacher. Now you know they look like they some con artists. So they so called fought for black people to get money in this bank so that they could get 50 white men in there to run amok up the money that was coming in and just hand it out to other white people who didn't pay the money back, would cause the bank to go out of business. You can look at these suspected white supremacists and see they meant no goodwill to this bank. Now, if they did, I apologize for that, but they suspected white supremacists, so I can't trust them. I can't trust nothing these two did, and the other 50 people that was over that bank. I can't trust that. So anyway, we're gonna go to this next video. That was pretty much to sum it up what they did, what these two guys started. Um, let's go to this next video where they kind of get into details of what basically happened with the money and what they should be doing in the future. So check this out. Let me bag it up. And in the beginning, this guy is smiling like, uh, it's no problem. I don't like the way this guy look. I don't like the way he's smiling about this. I don't even like the way they talking about it because they basically talking and ain't trying to, or don't even see a way the black people gonna get their money. You hear him talking about baby bond bullshit, and then 2,000 a month bullshit. Uh, something that we as black people is not gonna tolerate. But listen to this crap.
to provide newly emancipated Black people with a chance to save money and get a foothold, a financial foothold to be full Americans. But as so many things that happen.
What I'm pissed off about is look how he just sitting over there grinning. You know, thousands of black people. I think it was like 4 million total that was freed at that time. I think 60 some thousand of them believed in this bank, believed that this bank would be their future to help their children to be more prosperous. Imagine putting all your money into a bank like we can do now, and that bank turn up. You thinking it's a government bank, but it's not. It's just uh, some trustees guys who was appointed by the U.S. government to oversee this money. And of course, white supremacists who do not care about black people is just gonna run them up on the money with no oversight, nobody watching them. Start lending loans to white people, which they weren't supposed to even lend loans to black people. And it was black people money. How you gonna lend it to white people? And they was lending a loan to bad people who they know wasn't gonna pay it back. So look how you looking. Maybe he made a little money off this book, but your family, your people around you are still down because of what happened years ago and what continues to happen today. This is sad to me. And anybody that's watching this and you don't feel pain for your people, you don't care about what happened back then, this is why you're where you are today. May have been some of your family members' money that was just thrown in the trash. Money they could have thrown in the trash and not left you shit. That's why today most black people don't leave their kids shit. You know, because of this pain of putting money in the bank and the bank go and just throw it back out the window. Give it to people who don't need it and who are not gonna pay the money back. But it's like these people are sitting up here. It's like a joke to them. If you watch them, it's like they're weak people who ain't gonna ask or fight for nothing to get this money back into our hands. Listen to them.
Happened during that period. It was not lasting. In just under 10 years, just under a decade, Freedman's Bank went under. And we're going to talk about why that happened. I would also throw out that the bank's folding left 61,144 depositors, almost all of them Black people, soldiers, but also uh, men and women who had, regular jobs, even kids. Just everybody was excited about saving, and they lost nearly $3 million, which in today's money would be 80 million. And as Rodney points out in the book, and as we'll talk about, there's this, theft. So all those years ago contributes to the ongoing racial wealth gap in this country. It is also an interesting part of the discussion about reparations. People, say, "Well, I never owned slaves." No, but perhaps you participated in some of the systems of this country that robbed Black people of their ability to generate capital, own property, start businesses, and just create generational wealth. So we're going to get into some of those issues in specific, and that's enough. I don't want to take up all the time. Want please also to give you guys a chance to just have a conversation.
And but it was advertised heavily to especially to Black Civil War soldiers, because they were getting paid. They were getting paid, and they needed a way to send money to their families, but also they would get pensions, and they had no way to put it because white banks didn't accept them. So it grew. So it was created, and I should say first, Congress only intended for the bank to have one branch, and that was to be in Washington, D.C. Somehow that got lost in the legislation. So it ended up being 37 branches, mostly in, there were branches in New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore. The headquarters was in New York, and then it moved to Washington. But in Atlanta, mostly in southern and southwestern states, they were basically chasing where the Black Civil War soldiers were stationed. So, in Beaumont, South Carolina, for one, small cities like that. Now, it would have been impossible for even the white institutions to basically operate with 37 branches that are at that time. So it was weeks. It took weeks.
Why do you say that?
Because there was no, it took like a week for communication to go from one place from the headquarters to the other. Most of the people who they hired to run these branches were inexperienced, and many of them were incompetent as well. And so the communication was bad. The bank was underfunded. They expanded to.
You see this crap. They had 37 branches of people who had no experience, incompetent, holding these Black people, Black military men, pensions and savings in their bank. They just ran it down to nothing. And there was no hopes of getting the money back. The government did not do the right thing. The United States did not do the right thing, and has still not did the right thing today. And I think Kamala Harris' name changed the bank from Freedman Bank to uh, the annex, to make Black people even forget about Freedman's Bank. So how can you run something that's underfunded, growing too fast, with incompetent bankers with little or no experience handling money, giving loans to people who they know ain't gonna pay it back? I think this was a government conspiracy. I'll say that over and over and over again. Black people, we still gotta stop voting for these damn Democrats. We gotta stop voting period until these people pay us for our vote. And that's what I always say we need a black bloc to make sure that nobody black votes for something and get nothing. If you're going to vote, we must get something specifically for us, Foundation Black Americans. And I'm going to go ahead and end this program. I appreciate y'all watching, tuning in, listening. Those that's with me from day one to whenever I shut this thing down. I appreciate y'all. This is Everything Black, Frank Blanton, and we out.